can taste your words. I can taste your.
Welcome to the Easy Answer Podcast. I'm Brandy, plant-based chef.
And I'm Vonanise, plant-based adjacent.
On this podcast, we explore thought-provoking conversations around food
and simple ways to stay healthy in this crazy world.
Hey, so this episode of the Easy Answer Podcast, we are going to be continuing our conversation about medicine, particularly this week, functional medicine, and we have a bonus session because we're going to also be helping you to find ways to take really good pictures of your food. How do you make sure that your viral video is ready for its chance to be seen by the world? So this week on the Easy Answer Podcast. Hey, Vaughn, how are you?
We're kind of lucky to have someone that, can do both topics, straddle both worlds,
No, right? Yeah. Cool. How's your week been?
It's been cool. I'm like everyone else. I joined the gym in January. I'm on I think this is like my second week of working out 3 to 4 times a week. I went to the gym today. And so, I'm feeling healthy, fit, and happy. And I'll let you know by March if I'm still going to the gym. Okay.
Well, I hope so. It's definitely, especially after our interview about lifestyle medicine with like exercise being one of those important pillars to kind of keep wellness, keep yourself as well as possible. Like we know food plays the majority of the role, but
it's mostly diet. We all know that. Yeah. But you have to stay active.
Cool.
And I just feel like sometimes I feel like it's worse with the pandemic because I'm not getting out as much as I used to. Like the subway is a mess. There's always a new story about someone that pushed somebody else into the tracks, scaring the rest of us, never wanting to go back into the subway, So you're like, I need to revisit this driver's license thing.
Yes. Yeah. The concept of hyperlocal totally makes sense now. Like I know in the marketing world at some point, maybe like 2019, 2018, there was this conversation that came up about like really becoming smart about hyperlocal marketing, hyperlocal, and COVID really, really told us that like the hyperlocal thing is the key. I mean, I've said this before. Like I personally know the owner of my local grocery store thanks to the pandemic. Like, and he knows the stuff that I purchased because when I walk in, he'll tell me things like, "Oh my God, Brandy, they're beer nuts back in in stock," and I'm like, that was a top of the pandemic addiction, not all my whole life.
You personally know the person because you're the type of person. Remember that story you told us when something was expired in a grocery store and you took it to the register? So you were always going to know the owner of your grocery store, and we all know that about you. Okay?
Listen, you cannot sell food regular price that's expired. Like, you can sell expired food. Can it be on the discounted rack, though?
Okay, Brenda, we won't rehash that. So tell us about functional medicine, Brandy, because you are about to jump down that rabbit hole with this story again, and I'm going to relive it. Tell us about functional medicine. What is it, Brandy?
Yeah, so functional medicine, guys. Functional medicine is literally that medicine that we hear about, like from the past, right? Remember back in the day in these movies that we've watched where there was a guy called a doctor who would come to your house with this little bag and actually know the family, like understand the people, the person that they were working on, and provide like solutions based off of the human versus just like this fake kind of assumption that everybody's kind of the same. So the technical definition or concept philosophy behind functional medicine is that it offers a patient-centric approach to managing chronic diseases. So they're trying to figure out the why. So like we always talk about like getting to the root of the issue is really going to be the way that we solve the problem. And functional medicine is based in the philosophy that we figure out the why And then we offer up a solution that makes sense for the individual because we are not all the same.
And that sort of plays back into the idea of hyper local, right? It really does. Like what I need as a person, what's right for me might not be what's right for Brandy because we're not the same person.
Correct.
And if you someone in your family, the elements that say one individual in your family has, another one might not have.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that.
Yeah.
Like I said,
even hyper local, like you say, like what's good for like Harlem might not be good for the Bronx, right? Because they're different vibes in different neighborhoods. So even as something as, we think about, like I say, neighborhoods have different requirements. So of course, individuals are going to have different requirements.
Definitely, definitely. I know, like when I lived in LA, my skin broke out horribly. I think I've told the story before because it was very dry and it's a desert. And, I grew up in New York. And so I'm used to humidity. And my skin was like, what's happening? And I had horrible breakouts. And my mother, because I come from a family full of vain people, I've earned this honestly. I got it from her. She was like, I couldn't stand LA just for that alone. It was like the pimples would have drove me out. And just the idea that like someone like me, I couldn't do it, but I had a friend I went to college with. We went to school in Washington, D.C. She said the humidity and the hard water in D.C. messed with her skin. She grew up in L.A. L.A.'s, humid lack of humidity, dry heat was what she was used to. And so just the idea of you have to know what's right for your body. Look at us with a ticker. We are so grown. So I think it's the idea that you have to know what's right for your body, and a doctor's coming to you to tell you what's right for you.
Yeah, cool. And I mean, I think this is a perfect lead-in for our guest that we're going to be talking to today about her personal experience with functional medicine and how it has helped her deal with some of her health conditions. So, Mira, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. This sure is fun.
Yeah. Cool. So, before we get into your experience with functional medicine, tell us who you are. How can we contact you?
Hi, I'm Mira Zaki. I am based in New York City. I am a photographer and a new teacher and new author. Thanks for that. Woo, you were prepared. You can find me on mirazaki.com. Yeah, and social at Mira Zaki Photo.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So, functional medicine. We talked about functional medicine. Tell us your experience with functional medicine and how it's kind of helped you, if it has at all.
It's been incredible. I'd heard about functional medicine probably 10 or more years ago. I've been very much into the holistic approach of life and eating and healing. And I finally just got sick of everything and decided to actually, work with a functional medicine doctor.
Just like the rest of us, we're so done right now. And this pandemic, we're so tired, right? Like, I'm so tired of this.
I mean, it's the difference is night and day. I have an autoimmune blood condition, so my platelet count is always in danger. It's very low, and that can lead to very catastrophic things like bleeding in the brain, and so that's not good. So I have to watch myself whenever my blood count is low, and I had such an occurrence in the past couple of months. Thankfully, since I've lived with it for about 18 years, I know how to deal with it and how to be cautious and not bump my head and anything like that. But I just really felt like I wanted a more support about how to help my body not attack itself, if I could reduce the autoimmune part. And the sort of the side effect of that was that everything else got better too. My sleep, my joints, my energy levels, just my overall feeling. I just feel stronger and better, and it's amazing. And I never want to go back. Mm-hmm. So the thing that really surprised me was gluten. And I don't think I ever had a problem with gluten, but she's like, you need to take out gluten. That's messing with your blood. And I was like, What?
Oh wow, that's
You
interesting.
mean it's messing with my blood? How does that have anything to do with it? And so, I took it out and I was like, oh, what a difference.
Mhm.
I
And
was,
how long have you been gluten free? So like without gluten in your diet?
I'd say it's about a month and a half now.
Mhm.
And if this was 20 years ago, I would have fought and cried on the floor and said no, because there's a very emotional component to taking out gluten. It feels like you can't do anything. You can't go out. You can't have bread. You can't have anything at all. New York happens to be very gluten-free friendly. But also, just by accident, a year ago, or maybe not by accident, I found some recipes I fell in love with by a cookbook author who naturally was gluten-free. And so for almost a year, since April last year, I've been making her recipes because they're just so clean and delicious. But they so happen to be dairy optional and gluten-free. And so I felt like I had a tool instead of sort of starting from, zero and having to cry about never being able to have a croissant anymore. So
Got
tell
it.
me like a couple of the recipes that you really like one or
oh my
two.
gosh. Let's see. There's so many. There's cinnamon toast bars. I'm a sweet tooth. And also, these also happen to be sugar. Most of them are sugar free, or if it has sugar, they're coconut sugar. But she uses syrup and honey. And I was telling Brandy before, my taste buds have totally adjusted. I don't think I can have refined sugar anymore. It's like a very noticeable difference if I eat it. It's like, oh,
Wow.
poison.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like a healthy comfort food. Like she has a healthy hamburger mac and cheese. I'm not kidding. I've probably made it 15 times. It has nutritional yeast in place of cheese. And I use gluten-free pasta from what's the brand I like so much? Ancient Harvest. Is that it?
Okay.
Yeah. And that's on sale right now at Whole Foods. So I always look like a maniac when it's on sale. I like take the whole shelf because it's really pricey. So when it's on sale, it's like $1 off. So yeah, so there's like healthy hamburger mac and cheese. There's a lot of really beautiful breakfast. Like she does like cake for breakfast, which is pretty cool. The almond flour, blueberry cake, cinnamon walnut cake. Just everything. She has 3 small children. So I've never met anyone who can put vegetables into everything and trick you. So it's really to trick her kids, but then I get the benefit too. So she puts spinach in everything, in burgers, in shakes, in everything. So I'm like, can you OD on spinach? I feel like I've had like 2 pounds of spinach today. But, yeah.
Mostly water. If you ever cook spinach, you see how
Yeah, I
what's
also like smoothies. Like there's an antioxidant ginger berry smoothie I love, also has spinach in it. Muffins, I don't feel deprived. She's got a pumpkin pie recipe, she's got a pecan pie recipe. There's, the hamburger mac and cheese, there's scrambles, and it's very fulfilling because it's just clean food. It's just clean eating. And I'm really grateful that it so happened to be gluten-free, because otherwise I'd still be in the depths of Google and crying about what to make.
So like if we were to ask you like to go out to a restaurant, or when people ask you out, like what do you typically do or say?
Firstly, I actually have said no because I've just been enjoying cooking so much. So I'd ask them if they wanted to come here and I can cook. But as I mentioned, New York is so gluten-free friendly. There's And Pizza, who I happen to love so much as a company. They have gluten-free pizza I've ordered sometimes. But I think now it's, I feel so much better that's really not worth it to me to have like a cheat or a slip up or anything like that. So I would just order, meat and vegetables, salads, and just no bread or no products that have gluten. The trick is there's gluten hiding in a lot of sauces. I didn't know that. So
yeah.
I've
Really?
sort of asked more questions. Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, why?
A lot of times people thicken their sauces with flour a lot. And so it's the easiest, most accessible thing to thicken a sauce with. And so people grab for it. not thinking about the fact that it's not gluten free, and
Yeah.
there are other options that are gluten free that would have the same end result.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
It's
that's
tricky.
really interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
So when
so
you
was
go
I
ahead,
was going to say
Brandy.
the removal of gluten, was that the only recommendation from your functional medicine practitioner?
That was the first 30 days. And then the second 30 days, she asked me to take out dairy. And I have to be honest, it's pretty hard. I
Yeah.
haven't done it 100%, but I'm about 95%. And I don't notice as big of a difference, but I think that it's a good idea to reduce in general because it's an inflammatory food, genre of food. But additionally, I have some supplements I'm taking to support my liver, and she got me on a really particular liquid vitamin C and D, and they're not terribly expensive, so that's great. I've spent thousands of dollars on supplements in the past, and I'm really willing to do the work because I want to feel better. So
That's really good. You know?
yeah,
I know. I feel the same way about dairy too. It's
I love
like,
dairy, but I was like, I didn't realize how much I actually ate it. I was like, oh my gosh,
yes.
cheese, everything. Like it's pretty wild to take stock of what you actually do versus what you think you do. And I
Yeah,
guess
because
the
a lot
cool
of
thing
eating
is
is like, yes, I agree with you because a
you're
lot of times we eat and we don't even know, we're not even thinking, you know?
yeah,
We're just eating what's in front of us, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's more intentional for sure. I have an entire week planned of my meals now on my fridge, and I like wake up so excited to make it. I'm like, what do I have? What do I have today? It's it's getting real nerdy, but it's fun.
That's cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. So in addition, so you're making all this food now, you're cooking and things like that. And as we can see, you're a photographer. So I think that if you could, especially as someone who makes food all the time and shares it, like some
Yeah.
tips for like the best way to capture, because a lot of times you make a dish and it's in front of you and it looks one way, and then you take a picture of it and it doesn't look anything like it does, like in front of you. Yeah, right. So like, how do you remedy that?
I'll tell you why. So the reason why is first, your smartphone is a light sensitive device meant for natural light. So if you are trying to take a picture in the dark, it's going to not turn out great. Secondly, it's a wide angle lens. And what that means is it's for like a landscape, not for an individual item in front of you. So the trick I have if you're an iPhone is go to portrait mode when you're shooting food, because it will give you this depth of field where it kind of blurs the background and it just makes it look more interesting. So what you're fighting against with your smartphone is the lens distortion and the natural light. Now, you can learn to use a ring light, use a light box, use artificial light, but I would just say start at mastering the light that you have around you, and food loves natural light. So if you don't have a window, go outside if you can. And just practice. Practice makes perfect. Photography is not a theory; it's an active thing, and the way you get better is by doing it. So, get next to your window, play with your angles, and another really important thing is so much of food is brown that you want to add color to it, whether that's the plate, a napkin, fruit. You can use food as props, whether it's like crumbs of the cake, that's a prop too. But just add in some color as much as you can so that it gets more vibrant and it has more distinction. It actually has more texture. But yeah, your natural light is your best friend for food.
Have you noticed that there's a better time to take pictures than, when's the best time to take a picture if I can pick a time?
Yeah, well, there's different qualities of light. So light has temperature. Now, what that means is that it reflects a different color. So your kitchen light is yellow, right? And then another light you have might look a little bit blue when you take a picture on something white. So that's why you want to use natural light. And natural light changes throughout the day, and it actually changes like by the minute. So what you want to do is start to familiarize yourself with light itself and how it changes. There's no bad time of day to take it. The bad time of day would be when it's no longer light, because then you're struggling to deal with the natural elements. So also early morning vibe is bright and vibrant, and then afternoon evening light is more soft and subdued. So it's just a different vibe. It depends on what you want.
Oh, okay, look at you knowing stuff.
You want to do like, let's say like you just came back from the gym and you want to take a picture of your beautiful smoothie, that's a morning light situation. And if you want to like take a picture of your chicken and biscuits dinner, that's more of an evening vibe. So yeah. Unless you have chicken and biscuits for breakfast, which I'm not against. So
I was trying to do a TikTok and I couldn't even figure it out. I was just like, this situation is just a mess. Like, I just, for sure. Yes, I feel like the learning curve is like, messing with me, and it's making me feel like an old head.
Well, if you're doing the same thing and it's not changing, then there has to be a shift in something, whether it's the angle or the lighting. And if you just don't know what you don't know. So until you know, then you practice until you can actually get what you want.
So your selfies are probably real cute. You know all the good angles. You're like, boom, boom, boom.
The angles are not here because the lens distorts, right? So the angle is right in front of you. It's at your eye line. It also makes you more accessible and relatable. If you're in any kind of business or anything where you're inviting people in to pay you, you want to be relatable, right? You don't want to be far away or really over photoshopped or distant in any way. So just get to
unless you're Kim Kardashian, then you want to be that.
Yeah, no. I'm just not going to say anything more.
I like fabulous vibes sometimes,
You can totally be fabulous right in front of your eye line.
That's true. But then sometimes you see like my nose, like I feel like I can't get the right angle so that I look like the optimum of my cuteness. Like I can't get it all.
I have a homework assignment for you. I want you to put on your favorite song in the entire world that makes you get up and move, and then take a selfie at eye level and tell me how you like it.
Oh, so music. That's a tip. So music can affect your mood on the inside, and you will see it.
100%.
Does that also work for food?
Yeah, because I cook with music, and it like I bop around and like try to slow down when I'm cutting things so I don't cut myself. But like I groove when I'm cooking. I always have music on. Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed that food tastes different when you're happy and you're cooking it.
Absolutely. Love.
And
I was saying my mom could make an apple taste good because she puts so much love into food that just her energy cutting something as simple as an apple, it's like you feel like you've just been given a gift.
That's so sweet.
Truly.
I like waffle from your mom always these taste better. Like my mom makes, something as simple as
she loves you.
potatoes,
and it's just like the best onions and potatoes ever.
She loves you. She wants to feed you.
It's funny that you guys say that because I make tea for my nephews, right? And when I'm making the tea, and my nephew, he asked for me to make it, right? And so when I'm making the tea, I put the tea back in. I say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's like you're saying a prayer over the tea. That's why it's better than mine. This is my child.
That's so beautiful, but it works though, doesn't it?
I just want to be a favorite auntie.
You're doing it. That's very sweet. When you prepare something for someone, it's such an act of love. You're thinking about them the whole time. You want it to be the best, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Cool. That's helpful. And Mira, you have a class too where you show people how to take better photos.
Yeah, so it's a smartphone food photography class. You can have any smartphone at all. It's 4 modules, and it goes very in depth in a concise way to how to actually take really good food photos from color, composition, lighting, and what's the 4th one? Angles. the four wheels of a car, I call it.
Mhm.
But yeah, you know, color is super, super important with food. And you really want your food to be appetizing. Certainly if it's part of any kind of business or something where you're inviting people to pay you, it has to look good. So yeah, I can help you.
Cool. Sweet. Cool. And guess what? We can help you. We can help you show your commitment to the plant-based adjacent lifestyle by getting some of our good old plant-based adjacent merchandise that you can find at the Easy Answer Podcast store. We have long sleeve t-shirts, regular t-shirts, mugs, and reusable bags. So guys, support the Easy Answer Podcast and the work that we're doing. And you can, if you don't want to purchase merchandise, you can support us by following us on our Instagram page at the easyanswerpodcast.com. All right. So Mira, tell us again how we can connect with you.
So my website is myname.com, mirazaki.com. All my socials are at Mira Zaki Photo. I'm finally hanging out on Instagram. I hired a marketer and she helped me learn how to use Instagram.
Which is so funny as a photographer that you just ended up. That is the photographer's place.
I didn't get it. Well, here's the thing. It didn't start out as this business powerhouse that it was in the beginning. Very true. So I was kind of like, am I showing you my lunch? What am I doing here? And now it's like, this is an extension of my portfolio. So now it's much more robust and I've been very proud of being consistent with it. But yeah, at Mira Zaki Photo. And I welcome you to my class. I also have a selfie class. You can find me on the website. You can find a link to my other classes. Yeah, come and learn. They're all pre-recorded. So you get to go at your own pace. It's lifetime access. So there's no rush. You can come back to it whenever you please. And there is a comment section if you have questions. So I can actually see it if you end up asking questions. I can go back and answer them. But they all have video and a PDF that you can print out for folks who are both visual and auditory. And yeah, again, it's an experience. So the more you do it, the more you'll get out of it.
And people really need stuff like this because sometimes, you know, trial and error is just a little, sometimes, you know, the learning curve, it takes too long. Like, it just
absolutely
need to have someone teach them.
Absolutely. I say this, you know, my mom has been cooking for 50 years. I call her before I Google because she's just going to give me the answer faster.
True.
Truly. If she's awake, we can get the time zone right. She's on the West Coast, but you know, that's the only thing. I'm like, oh, is she asleep? And I have this question, and I have to go to Google and spend an hour and not find my answer. You know, I'd rather just have her tell me. But
cool. Well, Mira, we want to thank you for joining us today on the Easy Answer Podcast, sharing your experience not only with functional medicine, but also with how to get the perfect picture of your food.
So informative.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun.
Yes, guys. So thanks again, as always, for tuning in to the Easy Answer Podcast. Until we see you again next time, remember to keep it easy. Keep it super easy.